welcome to this video. Oh my days, you guys, like I love my hair. This is like it was unintentional. I just put some flexi rods in my hair last night, and there you go. Like my scrunchie will end up exposing me down there. But I just put it in this cute high bun. And I know in the previous video I was saying I will not be blowing out my hair. It was just like a one-time thing after I colored it. I am being influenced by this blowout to maybe have my hair stretched out more often because I feel like I've had the most fun within like 10, now 11 days of me having this blown out hair. But yeah, I just thought this look was very, very cute. But I digress. Welcome to this video. It will be a somewhat, not somewhat, it will be a very serious and sensitive video. I have chosen to do it because I'm an open book and I'm hoping it might help someone. Maybe you don't have somebody to talk to. And yeah, let's just go with the flow and see how far I take it. So as you can see from the title, I am talking about how I had a really rough year. There was one particular year that had me going through it. And honestly, like I hope I'm ready for this. Am I like on paper and in my thoughts? I hope I'm ready for this. I hope I'm ready for this. And as you can tell, like I'm quite nervous because now that I'm sat here, I'm just like, ooh, this is a good idea. But yeah, this month we have been doing a bunch of work tales. Just me chit chatting about a whole bunch of different things. And yeah, today's video is about having or dealing with a near mental breakdown at work. Like, how do you deal with that? How do you cope? How do you keep your job? And yeah, let's. I'm actually very nervous. Let me calm down and gather my thoughts. So, I think I can give like a bit of a background. This period of my life happened, I think, like about 5 years, like literally 5 years ago. And I had been working for a while. Did I enjoy my job? I don't know if I can say I enjoyed the job I had then, but it was okay. Like I was chill. I did have a couple of personal struggles that maybe I will talk about again later on in more depth, but I was otherwise okay. But then something happened in 2018 that was really, really sad. I went through loss. One of my best friends, like who I had known like from childhood, passed away, and it was very sudden. We were the same age, and it was a shock to me. It was a shock to our friend group. Obviously, I can't even begin to imagine what her immediate family went through. It was really, really sad, and to this day, it's still, you know, really, really sad. Of course, we honor her memory, we miss her, and everything. And yeah, 2018, that was what happened. That was the main incident, and it ended up being like the main trigger of me going through a period of like immense mourning. Like I had never felt that way before. Of course, people had passed away in my life, but that particular loss hit me really, really hard, and I just went through a period of confusion. And like I was just really, really confused, and it was just one thing after the next. It's like I was shifting gears. Like I went from one thing to the next, and each like progressing emotion or just mental state that I was in was one that was worse than the one before, and I it just felt like my mind was deteriorating. Now the job that I had was a front office job, and at that point I think I'd probably worked that job for like I think 4 years. I had worked that job for about 4 years, and again, like prior to that, like I was like, it was cool beans, it was chill. But when you're dealing with something difficult and and you're in the service industry, especially like if you're dealing with clients and the like on your front office, you have to serve clients with a smile. I had a job where people would come to me with a lot of grievances and stuff like that, like complaints. Sometimes you have a good day, but for the most part, you know a good chunk of my job was me dealing with people who had grievances, like I said. And it was really, really difficult because I was showing up, trying to do my best to just smile and not bring my personal life to my job because I didn't want to mess with my bag. But I was now being triggered. Like I know I'm going to use the word trigger a lot, but I'm not even misusing the word here. Like that is exactly what I was going through. I kept getting triggered on a daily basis where like you have to remain composed, you have to do your job well, but I was suffering mentally, emotionally. Like I don't know what other words to use, but I was going through it. I was ready, like I said, like I was trying to process that loss in my on my own, in my personal life, and I also had to go to work where yeah, like it was just a very very difficult time. Now, ideally, like you would see people go through, certain things where they experience loss. Maybe it might be a month or two, and then you kind of need to have your life back, or just like put yourself back in shape and establish some sort of new normal to help you function and just carry out with your life. Like it wasn't happening for me, and I kept thinking like, when is this going to end? Like when is this going to end? When am I going to go back to just normal thoughts, being able to just be okay, be kind of happy? Like it wasn't happening. It was just one thing after the other, and then I was constantly pretending to be okay, smiling, having a good time, but suffering on the inside. And it wasn't going away. Like it was wild. It was like month one, month two, month three. Like how are we 6 months in and I'm still struggling? And it just got worse and worse and worse. And the longer, you know, I had to sit and wallow, like the worse my thoughts got. Like I now entered this zone when I was I began to feel extremely hopeless, like really, really hopeless and helpless. And I was just like, I'm about to hit rock bottom. And I don't want to hit rock bottom, but I'm about to hit rock bottom. Like, what can I do to save myself? And I don't know why, but I had to ask myself, like, what's the main thing that's troubling me? Like, what is the main thing again that keeps triggering me to be and feel this way? Because it got to a point where, and I know a lot of people can relate to this. They can. Like, you can only do one thing. Like, you can't multitask joy and happiness and all of like so many things. It's like you have one thing, like you only have energy to do one thing. And I picked my job. I was like, this is the one thing that I cannot mess around with. I can't take days off to process what I'm going through. Let me focus on my job. So I will go there, do what I can, clock in, clock out at the end of the day. But then it ended up feeling like I was using all my energy just trying to stay afloat at work. And then once I would go home, I would be drained, like drained. Drained is like drained. And then I now just began to I already pretty much like I'm an introvert. I'm a homebody. But I was just now like isolating myself more. I just wanted to be home. Like weeks would go by. I think it even got to months where I hadn't gone out like or seen my family like in a while. Like I honestly feel like there was a period where, and this is pre-COVID. When COVID came, like it was the norm. But back then, like I would see my family at least once a month. I think 2 months went by, maybe even 2.5 months, and I had to go and visit them because it was somebody's birthday. I mean, we don't miss birthdays in my family, so I had to show up for that. But it's like where like I didn't even want to, like if I could avoid something, like I wasn't going there. Like things that would make me happy, activities that would make me happy. Like I couldn't do it anymore. And I know that this is probably very, very relatable to a lot of people. And I was just like I was just deeply sad. I remember it was also like a good year. Like lots of good things were happening around me. I remember going on 2 trips with my sisters. Like one trip, like I actually vlogged it. I went to Siavonga. I had an amazing time. And I remember opening up to my sister because like we did this session one on one, and and this is the thing, like I think I'd been in it for so long, and when I'm telling people something serious, I make a joke out of it. I know, and I could tell. I think even back, like even she was in shock, like that is what I had been going through, and God bless her. Like after that, like she actually like took me under her wing. And after I, came out of that, situation that I'll tell you about later, like I actually laugh about it and I think back, and like she knows this, and I've actually told her about this. Like you got me out of 2018. like like you helped pull me into the next year. Like thank you for being there for me, even though, yeah, anyways, like I won't get too deep into that because I end up crying, and I don't want to cry on my YouTube channel. So yeah, I remember going on a really, really, really good trip with two of my sisters and my and like friends to see Avonga. It was so much fun. It was like a fitness vacation. And I think I also went to Kenya. Had an amazing time with one of my sisters. Like it was my first time going to like a beach, like we went to the coastal region of Kenya. Like I was experiencing these highs, but I knew that as soon as I would get home, I would like I knew, like I knew that this is temporary. As soon as I get back home, I will be like I will experience like a very very big like a dip, like a low. Like I'm experiencing a high right now, but I know I'm going to experience a low. And it dragged, like you guys, it dragged on because like the incident happened in February of that year, and I remember being in October, spilling into November, and I felt terrible, you guys. It was now getting like physically exhausting, just trying to get myself out of bed and go to work now. Just like so, like I said, like I had to ask myself, what is like triggering me the most? Like if I want to save myself, if I want to come out of this, like what's the one thing I need to deal with, like the one thing that I need to sort out to just save myself? And I was just like, work is what's stressing me out the most. Like this is what's draining me the most. And when you're going through, that sort of experience, you kind of stop to be as rational as a person should be. Like I was just like panic thinking, like I was scrambling, like scrambling, trying to save myself. And in that moment, I was just like, I have to quit my job. Like I have to quit my job. I don't know what I'm going to do. Like I didn't even see what the next 5 years look like. Like I couldn't even see past 5 years or 2 years. Not that I was planning to do anything permanent, if you know what I mean, but like it was just this sort of helplessness where like I didn't want to be there anymore. Like I was so deeply sad, and I was just like, I need like I need to quit. I need to do something. I don't know. I don't have money. I don't come from money, so I can't just up and leave. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'll probably have to move in back with my parents and just like lay in bed day and night. Like I just felt helpless. Like I wanted to just, I don't know, like wallow. Like that's where my brain was at, and my like I was so serious about it, but I was just like, I either need to quit or I need to get out of this job where I'm forced to exert so much energy dealing with clients. I know this sounds terrible, like I said. I think in the first video I was like, don't say things that could jeopardize your future in front of your current employers who could watch this, but here I am risking it all. Don't listen to me. Oh, sorry. So listen to what I said of don't risk it all on the internet, but don't do what I'm doing because here I am risking it all. But I'm in a far better place now. Like I've come out of that. That's why I can speak about it now. So yeah, I was just like, either I need to quit or I need to move to a different type of job, because thank goodness I worked in a really big organization where like there were opportunities, to um work a different type of job that necessarily wasn't, front facing, where I could, like I really wanted a back office job where it's just me and paperwork and I can chill. Like I was tired of smiling and just being, like pretending, in front of like I couldn't do it. Was I doing it? Yes, I was, because I was just like, despite everything, I still need a salary. I can't get fired. Let me put myself together, like, and just report and be present for that. So anyways, in that moment I was just like, either I quit or I asked for a transfer. So I picked up the phone. Did I pick up the phone? Yes, I did pick up the phone, and I called someone in HR, a lady. And again, you guys, like, this is my advice. I got incredibly lucky to find people who are nice and empathetic. Like when I say lucky, like I was incredibly lucky. Incredibly lucky. I do not recommend that you trust someone who you absolutely do not know. I got like I keep saying I got lucky. I do not recommend it, because you just never know how the person you call will take it, or superior. Like you just don't know how somebody will take it. If I were you and you're going through this, find someone outside of your work, like get help outside. But I was not in my right frame of mind. I called someone from HR. She was in a, yeah, like a senior position. And I was just like, fam, I need to talk to somebody. Can you slot me in? I'm having a tough time and I just would like to sit down and, have a chat with someone from HR. I feel like you guys like you guys preach about mental health and well-being, and I just need to talk to somebody right now. And I also want to talk about my current position. I just spoke to her over the phone and she was like, I will set a date, come through. And I lived in a small town, and then like our head office was, yeah, like in a big city. So that's how and again, this was, I remember it was November. If not November, it was December, but I think it was November. Because I was just like, if I don't do something, like I don't know where I'm going to end up. So I took myself to the head office of my organization. I had a meeting with this particular lady from HR, and then she called in her superior. Like she already had a senior position, and then there's another lady who had a more, like an even more senior position in HR. And to this day, like I said, I was incredibly lucky. I work at the same organization, but and those two ladies have moved on. They have different positions. Like I appreciate that particular day, and I'll elaborate on that further. But I work in the same organization, and the people who are there now, like, I was about to say no shade to them, but this is me throwing shade. Like I wouldn't call them in that mental state to ask for help. Like, no, 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 no. Like, they're not the people to call. So yeah, like I was incredibly lucky that those two ladies were the ones who were there at that time. So I went there, I sat down. I honestly didn't know what didn't know what I wanted out of that meeting. Maybe no, you know what? Let me take that back. I did want to just, and by the way, like I was ready to leave. Like I was ready to hand in my resignation, but I was just like, I'm here. I'm going through a tough time mentally. I wasn't even planning on elaborating what it was, but I was just like, I plan on resigning, but before I do, I wanted to find out if it's possible for me to get moved to a back office position. Because that's it. Like that, like if you can move it to a back office position, like I'll stay. If not, I'm resigning. Like I'm actually resigning. Like I'm dipping. I'm out. I can't. Like I'm not okay. I am not well right now. And they asked me, like elaborate, like what's going on. And you guys, do you know what ugly crying is? Like I don't know what happened, but I was ugly snot crying. Like it was like floodgates. I was just like this. Like, oh, like my best friend passed away. I've been depressed. And I did expand, and like I said, maybe like one day I'll talk about my other personal struggles like later on. But I was just like, it's been a huge trigger for me. I'm going through it. I can't. You guys, it was supposed to be probably like a 30-minute to an hour long chat. I was there for hours. I don't even know. Like I said, to this day, like I honestly thank God and those two ladies for just being accommodating and like, being extremely kind, because they didn't have to do that. Like they didn't even know me like that. And I recall in between me blowing my nose on tissues and whatnot, like the more senior lady, like she had an assistant come through saying, like your next meeting or this and that is happening, and she kept saying, just like hold on a bit, or postpone it or something, or just deal with it. I'll get that to like let me finish with this now. Like this is like like I said, like I was incredibly lucky, and I'm so thankful for like to this day, like people might say things about those two, like I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it because they honestly, like low key saved me that day. Like it was such an incredible kindness that they showed me. And I like by the way, if you aren't, if you're new to my channel rather, I am Zambian, and yes, like yeah, like African countries, like people don't really know how to tackle mental health. Okay, they don't. So I got incredibly lucky that I was in a corporate environment where people, like, I wasn't judged, you know At least, I don't know, but they were incredibly kind to me. So yeah, that's what happened that day. Now, in the midst of me going through all of this, they gave me the best advice. So first of all, they asked me, "Do you have someone to talk to?" And I was just like, "Well, I have a sister. I have an older sister I can speak to." They were like, "What about like a parent or whatnot?" And I was like, and this is the thing, like I felt a lot of shame about what I was going through. Like I didn't feel like it was something that I could talk about because like we're taught to be strong, and we are told that, it's like you're not allowed to have problems. You're not allowed to be depressed if you have a job, if you have money, if you have a roof over your head, if you have a quote unquote good life. If you have material things, like you aren't allowed to be sad. So I felt like I couldn't express myself or say that I'm feeling a certain kind of way because nobody would take me seriously. They would invalidate my feelings. That's what I thought would happen. So I was just like, I don't know, like I don't think I'm ready to have that sort of conversation. They asked me if I was religious, and I was just like, I'm a spiritual person, not necessarily a religious one. And then they talked about therapy, and they were like, you really need to get into therapy. And even my sister, like from mid of 2018, when I broke this, she was like, you need to get into therapy, fam. Like, why are you not in therapy? And I did reach out to like a therapist, and most of the girlies on YouTube or Instagram who live in Osaka, like everybody talks about Dr. Maria. Like, yeah, she's what's her is it Red- I think her clinic is called Renaissance, if I'm not mistaken. But I remember reaching out to that particular like health clinic, but they didn't do sessions during the week. And this is pre-COVID, like nobody was doing online sessions. Like you had to do physical sessions, and I was coming from out of town, and I could only have sessions during the weekend, and they didn't work during the weekend, so that was a bust. So I had to like get into therapy. So like after that, I was like, you know what, maybe I will, maybe I won't, I don't know. And then after they said, get help and all of that, they now addressed the situation and why I had gone there, of saying, can you give me like a back office job? Is there an opportunity for me to move back office? I actually need to like breathe a bit and just take my time and just try and remember how it was said, because it was some of the most valuable advice I have ever gotten, you guys. In that moment, I was, yeah, like I was 26, you know, at this point, because I've been working for 10 years. Like I was at the 5 year mark back then of my career. And they told me, like, you are very young. You have like your whole life and career ahead of you. Life is hard. What you have gone through is very, very sad. It's very, very serious. Clearly, you have some underlying issues as well. But life doesn't get easier. If not, it just gets worse. And not to invalidate, like the relationship I had with the person who I lost, but they were just like, you will experience more loss with even closer people as time goes by. And you are an adult. There will come a point where even you have to, I don't know, like you have to be in charge of yourself or just certain things. And it happened, okay, but I'll get into that later. But they were just like, we get you wanting to run away, it feels so heavy, but we would be doing you a disservice if we granted your wish right now of you to flee from the current job that you're in or the current situation that you're in, because life will get harder. You need to overcome what you're going through right now in that situation. Once you manage to come out of this, you will be able to survive future loss, because future loss is coming. It is inevitable and it is going to happen. So if we like baby you through this, trust me, like you always want to dip. Okay, they didn't use the word dip. You always want to leave. You always want to run away. And I am a flight person. I'm like, that saying, people like either go into fight or flight mode if they're faced with a challenge. I flee. I flee. So yeah, they were just like we can't grant you that wish. We can only advise you and say, get some help, find an activity, do something that can distract you or help you heal from what you're going through. But you also have to, like, you need to have a job. like you need an income, like your job is a very, very real thing. Okay. And you need to overcome this and just be okay. Or even if you're not okay, get to a point where you're able to function at your job. And I don't know why, like, you can imagine, like, almost a year of feeling really, really down and helpless. For some reason, them just telling that to me to my face calmed me down. I don't know. I don't know if I just needed to hear it from someone else, it really, really calmed me down. And I remember walking out of that meeting and like I went from that meeting and went straight to my bank. And I think I briefly touched on this in one of my story times of how I bought my first home, etc. whatnot. But in a very short period of time, no, but I feel like it was the same day. They were like, find a new project, find something. One, get help. Two, find something positive, find a positive distraction to help you heal from what you're going through right now. And I was just like, I need to start a business. I need to start a business. I need to buy a house or something that can give me rental income, but I need to find something that will keep my mind occupied, but something positive. So, anyways, that's like a whole other thing. I ended up like buying a house and all of that. But because like at first I wanted to start a business, that didn't happen. And because I wanted to partner with people who already were in the business that I wanted to get into. But yeah, they weren't open to partnering with me at the time, even though like I wanted to bring in like, like money or an investment into it. Like I wanted to be, yeah, an investor. So I remember going home and I told one of my best friends this because like we work together and like to this day like we're really, really good friends. I remember going back home and like I know like if she's watching this like she probably remembers that day and how she was just like, how dare you? How like you were going to leave me here? Like you're planning on leaving and leaving me here? But yeah, she was just like, yeah. But like I remember we had a good laugh about it. And when I accepted the fact that I needed to get over what I was going through and somehow manage myself with that job, like I had a new perspective on life. I don't know, but like after that meeting and hearing what I needed to hear in that, can you hear my neighbor's puppy screaming in the like? I hope you get, like I'm so sorry if you can hear that, but here we are. There's all sorts of noise in the background. But yeah, I went back and I just like grabbed the bull by the horns with regards to that job. I just told myself to be or just look at life in as positive of a perspective as possible and just calm down, just like look for something that will give me hope. Look for something new, get help, talk to someone. Like I was more open with like yeah, like I guess my sister, like I told her about the whole experience, and everything, and I miraculously came out of that. I I still wanted to leave. I wanted to go to a back office position, and half a year later, when I had like I was now in a better place mentally, but like I still wanted to go into something else. I was like, you know what? I've done my time here. Because at that point I was now six, like I had been working for 6 years, but like was it no, it was five. What am I talking about? Yeah. Anyways, but point is 6 months later, I was just like, you know what? I'm okay. Mentally I'm or at least a lot better than I was before. I think it's time for me to actively move on. But even as I'm going to the next thing, I'm in a good place. Like I'm going there because I want to do something for my career, not that I'm necessarily fleeing. Or am I just telling myself? I don't I don't know. But I was just like, let me go. Let me make the conscious effort, put in an application, and it was granted. And I moved and I got the job that I wanted. It's the job that I still work right now. It can be challenging sometimes, but I actually felt like I was in the place that I actually needed to be, like I wanted to be. And I always think back to those two ladies that like, you know what, maybe when they saw my application, like I'm glad they didn't grant it there and then, but maybe they had a hand in me when they eventually saw my application pass over the desk like months later. And something else, they used to check up on me. They used to, so like like obviously this is HR in a big company. Like my direct supervisor had no idea that any of that had gone down because I didn't want to make her uncomfortable because then she'd look at me like, do I have an unstable person working for me? Like I just didn't want to, put myself in a position where people question my work or just worried that I won't, provide the output that is required of me. Like I didn't want to jeopardize that. Like to this day, like I wonder if anybody, like if either of those two actually spoke to it. Like they said that they wouldn't, but who knows. But yeah, those two ladies actually checked, like they would check on me every couple of months. I would get a phone call, like on their own, like I think they had my number, or yeah, but they would call me, and it was, I'm not going to cry, I'm not going to cry, but it was very, very heartwarming. To this day, I truly appreciated the fact, and we have met like in person later on, and like we just smile, and of course they see me, they ask how I'm doing, and yeah, like I'm just like, no, I'm okay now, I'm good, I'm a lot better. So yeah, I got to this new place and position where it was like it was a back office job, and I am thriving because I know my personality. So when I got that front office job, like that was me again. I think in my first video I talked about how sometimes you just have to, you know, go through something uncomfortable and use it as a stepping stone. I learned a lot in that job, and it helped pay my bills. It gave me the disposable income that I had to be able to even, have access to a mortgage to buy a home. I have done so many things that have bettered my life. I took myself back to university, which I paid for. Like, in as much as I was going through it, I still appreciate the pay that I had. Like I was grateful for that. I used it as a stepping stone, and then when like when my mind was better and ready for the next thing, I moved on. And I was actually in the place that I needed to be, thanks to that stepping stone. And yes, all jobs are challenging, but I feel like I'm in a place where I'm quite happy. I like it. It's stuff that stimulates my mind and it makes me happy. I love working back office. But yeah, after that experience, 2020 came around, and again, like for the oldies, I did mention how I experienced loss in 20, like right before COVID. Like my aunt passed away. Like it was, and even for her, like it was really sad and really shocking. Like my family still hasn't fully like it's been 3 years now, and like yeah, these things are never really fully processed. Like you never really heal from it. Like we're still really, really sad and we've been mourning that, but something tells me that I had some tools to deal with that situation. And I remembered what those ladies said of, if you don't figure how to come out, if you don't figure out how to come out of this, like you will struggle in the future. Like nothing is easy. Like loss is never easy. Of course, I went through a very, very sad year. I still think about her. Of course, I miss her and everything. I wish you could see certain things that have happened in our lives, because like me and my siblings involved, and like my nieces and nephews who are her grandkids. Like I wish you could be here to see all of this. Of course, there's always those hard times, but that particular year, 2020, I don't know. I feel like I had some of the tools that I needed to go through it. And it was an easier transition back to living a somewhat functional life because of what I had gone through in the past. I don't know if this is making any sense, but it was a very valuable experience that I had. And was this an advice video? I don't even know. At least the title of this series was Work Tales, so you can just absorb this content as a story time if you want to. If it's not, you wanting to receive very vague advice, if this is even advice at all. But that is something that I learned, at least. I appreciated the advice that I had gotten then, and that is how I dealt with a near mental breakdown at work. And yeah, this is the end of this month's series. I have liked these videos. Next month is August. We have a whole new series of Chitter Chat videos, which I hope you will tune in for and enjoy. But yeah, thank you so very much for watching this one, and I will see you in the next one.